All right, what I do differently if I started Helping Hands today. As you guys know, Helping Hands is my first business venture. Quick story how it got started. So I got done in the NFL. My experience at UVA was that I had a poor move-in day experience. So I decided that, what I wanted to do was create some type of business that was around the move-in day, improving the move-in day experience for college campuses. And I knew that I could do that because I had friends, family, former teammates, things of that nature that could do the physical labor of this. So, I had a couple problems that I had to make sure that I understood here. Was that one, what was I able to provide? I was able to provide physical labor that could help and assist in some form of fashion. So that's what I knew I could do. Why I wanted to do that was because my initial reasoning was that, I came home and a lot of my friends and family, they were just like doing the same things. They didn't seem like anything was changing in their circles. So I wanted to give some type of value of purpose of like having a job, having continued growth, being able to see job continuity, being able to see potential job growth and role growth and have some responsibilities like that. So that's the reason why it got started in the first place. I pitched that, and we initially had to start by working for free. So, I knew I had some money in the bank that I wanted to just like be like, all right, let's start for free. But then have an idea of like, if we are working for free, one, could I take the hit? And then two, if you're going to work for free, you got to be able to make sure that this becomes hopefully recurring business, right? Like, or if I'm going to do something for somebody for free, I got to do a good enough job with it for free that they're willing to pay me for it next time, right? So that's the only two ways you're going to do it for free. So that's how we started. We started for free. They said, hey, come and do this, come help. If people want to give you tips, that's fine. So we showed up, we did that work. I paid my staff in full. We took any tips. We didn't give any tips, but it was a full day, and we got to build a relationship with a team and a property that was looking to help, that we solicited to help on move-in day. But in that process, we gained some valuable information. We gained some valuable information about where they put their budget towards, right? So the one thing that I did find out in that process was that they put their budget in this private market of purposely built student housing. They put their budget into this turn season for the most part. So if you look at their budget over the year, their budget is mostly going to be payroll, and they have some type of vendors that come every month and things of that nature, but the majority of it is staffing the site, right? But in the summer time frame, they have a larger budget specifically for vendors and contractors to come in and get these units back ready for the next school year. So I learned that working for free doing a move-in day for a specific property in Lexington, Kentucky. So that was interesting, right? So I then decided to transition my business. They was like, hey, if you guys can help us with cleaning, painting, and this type of stuff, then we'll be willing to pay you next year. So I actively transitioned my business. You don't got to tell me twice, right? So I actively transitioned my business to that where they had the budget at. And then I had a market opportunity now. I understood a market. I understood where the money was being spent at. And then I also had a target. So after that one specific instance, I had a conversation with somebody, and it basically said like every single property that's like this has a budget to pay for painters, cleaners, carpet people around the entire country, around every university. And now I had a clear plan on what and how I could build a business that made money, right? So my goal was I'm gonna call, email, solicit, market to every single one of these types of properties and say that we do cleaning. Why did I choose cleaning? I chose cleaning because everybody can do cleaning. I had no idea how to do painting, I had no idea how to do anything else, but I knew I could do cleaning because my mama made me clean. So that's what it is. It's no playbook. The playbook was learned over time through conversations, through showing up, and through figuring out like and doing good work, like being somebody that people can trust, and then figuring out like where can we add value. So that's what it was. So what things would I do differently since if I started Helping Hands today? If I started Helping Hands today, and I had the knowledge that I had today, I would have started in a recurring revenue space. right? So where we got our business at now after 8, 9, 10 years is that like it's a recurring revenue business. We have contracts that pay us monthly. We show up weekly, daily to execute specific services for these specific properties. That's a way better business model, and it's a business model that you can exit a little better versus the turn business model where you're chasing contracts every year. I got tired of chasing contracts. Each year. I wanted a contract that I could keep, that I could have over years and years and years and years, and they need the same services month after month after month after month. But yeah, the chasing contract business, I wouldn't have started there. It was a good beginning because it got me some cash, got me some revenue in the door to start some other things. But ultimately, I would try to get to a recurring revenue business model earlier in Helping Hands versus when I got to it probably like 4 or 5 years in to the business. So I have a couple questions that I'm going to answer for you guys. So the 3 biggest things you change. So I just mentioned one. I would try to get to a recurring revenue business model. Hiring, I would probably hire with people with expertise. I still need to do this better now, but like a lot of the times I'm hiring people that are like, my friends, and I love that because, that's one of the reasons why I started the business in the first place. But we do need some type of level of expertise. So some type of mentorship, some type of consultation, things of that nature. You got to have expertise in the business. Everybody just can't be learning. Everybody's learning, everybody's losing. That's how I see it. So that's another thing I would have done differently. And then my third thing is I wouldn't have been afraid to lose contracts, right? I wouldn't have been afraid to lose contracts, lose bids. Sometimes I priced myself so low to get the business that the business didn't even make sense. I had to start selling another contract to then make that business that I just got work because I was coming in too low. Taxes, payroll, holiday pay, all those things weren't adding up and making sense from my bottom line. So those are the 3 things I say. So what did we say? We said not pricing myself too low, hiring experience, and the third one was getting to a recurring revenue model faster. So another question is, why do we focus on building for others to run, not just you? So in my mind, I read that question as I focused on others and my passion was behind others, because when you're doing things for value, for good of your community, of your family, of your friends, then you work a little harder when it's not just you behind the purpose. If it's you, you'll quit on yourself. If it's easier to quit on yourself. But if you have somebody that you're trying to get this done for, to help them have a better life, better experience, better opportunities, then you work a little harder. I always say, if somebody believes in you, don't let them down. And that's one of the things I try to put behind this business. And I still to this day, I appreciate the people that believe in me, and I show up for them every day to try to make their beliefs true, right? I believe they're true. I just got to show them that they're true. So that's that. And my advice for first-time operators, is treat it like a business, not a job, right? So your first business, you need to treat it like a business. If you treat it like a job, what does that look like? That means you're doing the actual work. You need to put the infrastructure in place so that your first business is an actual business that is something that you can step away from and it can still be operated. That was one thing that I did understand from day one, is that I did not want it to be like Chase Minifield's so-and-so, Chase Minifield's Movers, or Chase Minifield's Cleaners, or anything like that. I want it to be a business that somebody else could step into the CEO role. So I could sell this business to somebody and they can operate the systems that I've had in place and continue to grow and build the business over time. So those are some of the things and questions that you guys have asked, but that is some of the main things that I would do different if I started Helping Hands today.